Military operations today hinge on a reality. Commanders need aircraft that can stay in the sky for hours, watching and striking targets without risking pilots. The MQ-9 Reaper is a clear example of how that requirement is met. What began as a basic surveillance tool evolved into an entire family of highly adaptable configurations. For years, its baseline operation looked exactly like this, flying over stark, open deserts, providing constant overwatch in areas where the airspace was relatively safe. But the operational environment is shifting. Military planners must now project that same power across thousands of miles of ocean, or into airspace guarded by sophisticated, layered defense systems. A confined land operation presents very different physical challenges than a maritime patrol. Out on the water, brutal weather and sheer geographic scale completely alter the math on fuel consumption and sensor capability. So how do you take an aircraft built to hunt in the desert and adapt it for the ocean? And what operational capabilities do you have to trade away to make that transition? The reality is that the MQ-9 is no longer a single uniform aircraft. It is a modular platform where every new operational capability is a direct trade-off against an old one. We start with the baseline MQ-9A. Its primary function is to deploy quickly and maintain uninterrupted surveillance over active ground battles. Transportability makes that possible. The aircraft is designed to be broken down, loaded into a cargo plane, and rapidly assembled at a forward operating runway near the fight. Once airborne, its main tool is the multispectral targeting system. This turret merges infrared sensors, daylight cameras, and laser designators into a single unit. That hardware combination allows operators to pinpoint targets, track their movements, and guide precision weapons while circling high above the terrain. To maximize that time on station, engineers developed the extended range variant, pushing the airframe's endurance to its physical limits. This diagram highlights the mechanical additions: external fuel tanks and a modified four-blade propeller. These tanks mean extended missions, providing more uninterrupted time to support forces. But physics demands a price. Extra fuel creates a heavy load, requiring takeoff optimizations and noticeably reducing agility. Even with the extended range, this land configuration relies on nearby localized airfields and points its sensors at highly concentrated tactical areas. While the MQ-9A and its extended range variant offer excellent close-air ground support, pointing a targeting laser at a single vehicle does not help you monitor a vast ocean. Moving to the maritime domain completely changes the objective. You are no longer tracking individual trucks. You are tasked with scanning millions of square miles of open water. This requirement is critical in remote regions like the High North, where sending manned patrol aircraft is difficult, expensive, and taxes human flight crews. Operating here requires a hardware swap. The land-focused targeting lasers are removed and replaced with specialized maritime radar and tracking communications. This split-screen chart illustrates the sensor differences. Left, the land configuration uses a narrow, concentrated cone of vision. Right, the maritime setup sweeps wide radar arcs across a massive grid. This wide-area radar allows a single drone to persistently monitor large stretches of international waters. The operational trade-off is direct. Optimizing the platform for broad naval awareness strips away its utility for close-air infantry support. It also dictates entirely different logistics, requiring a distinct data link infrastructure back home, and operators trained to read ocean radar returns rather than desert topography. Adapting the Reaper for the ocean means sacrificing immediate kinetic lethality so the aircraft can function as a strategic, unblinking sentinel. When we shift to near-peer conflicts, the constraints change again. Heavy, layered air defenses make traditional long-loiter surveillance missions practically impossible. This environment requires the heavy weapons configuration, which pulls the platform out of the watcher role and turns it into a dedicated attacker. As you can see, maximizing lethality ruins the aircraft's aerodynamics. Instead of clean lines, the drone is dragged down by massive payload pylons carrying multiple missile types. This leads to the cruise missile truck concept. It is designed to carry and launch long-range standoff weapons from outside the reach of dangerous defense zones. This quadrant chart measures loiter time vertically against kinetic payload horizontally. The baseline MQ-9A plots high and left, maximum loiter with a light payload. But heavy strike variants drop down and shift far right. Heavy munitions create immense drag, destroying fuel efficiency and flight time. When engaging sophisticated adversaries, planners must accept that they cannot have persistent surveillance. The drone is reduced to a localized, heavy impact delivery system. This chart breaks down the operational reality. The modern MQ-9 operates under strict physical boundaries. You cannot load maximum fuel endurance, sweeping maritime radar, and heavy standoff weapons onto the exact same flight. If you need long-duration troop support and counterinsurgency, the decision maps directly to the MQ-9A and its extended range variant. If the requirement is fast naval deterrence and resource monitoring in harsh climates, the path leads to the Sea Guardian configuration. And if you are facing layered defenses in a near-peer conflict, you choose the cruise missile payload. Defense planners have to make these calculations early. You must predict the specific environmental and threat constraints before the aircraft ever leaves the hangar. The platform's ongoing survival relies entirely on this physical modularity. True strategic advantage doesn't come from a single set of specifications. It comes from matching the right configuration to the